right, I'm host. Welcome back, Brian.
Oh,
it's a change of scenery here, yeah?
Yeah, switching sides.
I got the computer in front of me now. And I am the captain now.
This is true.
Welcome back to SFS Fight Picks, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Jaxson Barlow, and in front of me, I have the former champ, Brian Fornasiero. I brought his reign to an end handily on the last pay-per-view event with my Jan Blachowicz pick.
What happened to your other person that you challenged?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Jackson Ross backed out, right? Conflicting schedules. He says conflicting schedules. Really, he was scared. He knew what was going to happen. We had picks for the Sandhagen-Moraes fight. We didn't do a podcast. He did terrible. I picked damn near flawless, and he realized he didn't want it. He backed out. So I'm bringing Brian back.
He gave me the rematch.
I'm giving him the rematch. And you know what's funny is, okay, I've been saying it for a long time. I was going to wear sunglasses on the podcast, and I fucking forgot again. I was going to wear them the first one, forgot. I was going to wear them the second one, forgot. They're on top of my fridge at home right now. So I'm gonna have to do it for the third one. All right, let's get it started, though. Game rules. Starting off, we have $1,000 to bet, and this card is actually going to be special because there is not 5 fights on the main card like there normally is with the UFC event. There is actually 6. So the money would have to be spread out a little differently this time. That was a challenge. Rule number 2, bets must be in before the show. Brian and I sat here for a couple minutes before, got our bets in. Rule number 3, must be at least $100 on each fight. You cannot skip any fights. You have to put money on every single fight and at least $100. 4, largest profit wins. So you could win more fights than your opponent, but if their money totals up to me more, that is the winner. Rule number 5, most important, the winner becomes host and issues the challenge, hence the reason I am here. All right, you want to go over the fights, Brian?
Sure. So for the first fight of the night, we have Murphy and Shakarova. I don't know if I said that right, but the second fight, we got Phil Hawes and
Malkoun.
The third fight is Ankalev and Kutlaba. The fourth fight is going to be Volkov and Harris. The co-main event is going to be Whittaker versus Cannonier. And then the main event, Gaethje and Khabib.
It's time. And we were actually talking about this off the air. We might at the end have to talk about if Michael Chandler steps in, who our picks might be for a Chandler versus Gaethje or a Chandler versus Khabib fight.
That's true.
All right. And also, just to get ahead of it right now, the board is a little out of order. The fight card actually is a little bit different setup. There's one of these fights is backwards. I think like Hawes and the Ankalev fight are reversed, or the Murphy and Shakarova one are a little later or something like that. But it is a little out of order, but the top 3 fights aren't. So apologies for that. All right. So for the first fight, Murphy is favored -240 with Shakarova being the +200 favorite. I have never watched either of these people fight. I do not know who they are. I looked at their records. I looked at their age. And based off of that, I am actually going to put $100 on Shakarova just because she is a +200 favorite. I liked her record, and I like the age matchup.
Mm-hmm. I actually don't know anything about her either, but I have watched Lauren Murphy a decent amount. I know she beat Andrea Lee recently, who I think is a very good fighter. She's good on the ground, good striking. I knew Shakarova is a little bit newer to the UFC. She looks like she has a really good record. But with that experience, I decided to go with Murphy for $150.
You're going to one-up me a little bit, make up for that favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So for number 2 fighters, I really don't know. I think I saw Phil Hawes on the Contender Series. I could be wrong. But Phil Hawes, big favorite right here, -265 with Malkoun being +225. I believe Phil Hawes is 8-1. He's a big, stout guy. I really liked his physical attributes. However, for the money, that +225 really grabbed my attention for Malkoun, who is 6 years younger, I believe. He's 25 years old. I think Hawes is 31. But Malkoun is 4-0. He's young, and I like him as the underdog. I'm putting another $100 for Malkoun.
Wow. So we have another different pick. I decided I I've watched Hawes a couple fights. I've never seen Malkoun fight. I think that Hawes has good experience. He's been around a lot of really high-level gyms, training with high-level people. So I just decided to go with Hawes, and I bet $100 on him.
Fair enough. So for the next fight, we got Ankalaev as a favorite versus Cutelaba. Ankalaev minus 275, Cutelaba plus 235. I see a Russian name, and I automatically assume they're going to fucking destroy their opponent with, like, just sick grappling and creative striking and just good MMA in general. And I looked at their records. I like Ankalaev's record. I'm going plus 200 on Ankalaev.
Nice. So their first fight ended really weird, Everyone said it was a controversial stoppage, which it was very weird.
Was that the one where the guy was like, he got rocked, and then after beating the shit out of the one guy, he gets rocked, and then the ref stopped it because he thought he was getting knocked out or something?
Yep. That was that
I have seen that.
Yeah, same thing, like Ankalaev. Good grappling, good striking, and just that Russian thing going
that Russian,
right now.
Bro. The Russians are different.
Cutelaba, he's fought some really tough dudes. He's lost to most of those guys. Man, it was tough because I could see this being a close fight, and with him being a huge underdog, I really was starting to lean towards that, but I decided to go with Ankalaev, and I bet $100 on that one.
Fair enough. Being a little stingy with your money over there, Brian.
I know.
And I think it's funny. Someone brought it up to me that we don't bet real money on the show, and I think it's because you don't like to spend your money.
That's true. 100%.
I think if we were to put real money down, I think you'd play the game differently.
I think so too. Yeah.
All right, going on to Volca versus Harris. We have Volkov as the favorite, minus 155. Harris being plus 135. And I was telling you right before we even started, I really do not like this fight for the reason that I think Volkov is going to win, and I really want to see Harris win. But I am going to put $100 on Volkov. But even though I'm putting money on Volkov, I am still rooting for Walt Harris.
Yeah, that's because you only put $100 on him, right?
I only put $100 on Volkov. Yeah, because I still really want Harris to win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Like watching Walt Harris come back for his first fight after losing his stepdaughter, that was just like heartbreaking. I felt so bad for him, and I'm sure for his whole family, all of his friends, that was super tough. Mm-hmm. This is another fight, though. Like you said, I just can't vote against Volkov on this one. I think he's just tall, got good striking, and I mean Walt's good. I could see him winning, but it definitely I'm kind of surprised the odds are so close on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went with Volkov and I bet 250 on him.
That's a smart pick actually. Going on to the co-main event, we have Robert Whittaker versus Jared Cannonier. This one took me by surprise. I also didn't know until like about a week ago that this fight was even happening. And then the fact that Cannonier is the favorite, I think, is fucking insane. Mm-hmm. And for that reason, I am going huge on Robert Whittaker. Okay, after watching Robert Whittaker go toe-to-toe with Darren Till, who is one of the best strikers in the UFC, I think, and just the way he just flows his striking just flows so nicely, and he also has that really good wrestling base, too. I think he's gonna take this fight. I don't see why Cannonier's the favorite. I understand he's a very powerful striker, but Robert Whittaker's more experienced, and he's 6 years younger, and he's been a champion. I do not see Jared Cannonier winning this fight, and fuck if I end up eating my words, I'm gonna be pissed. I am betting $400 on Robert Whittaker.
Wow. Yeah, this fight was tough for me because Whittaker, he's got so much experience against the best guys in the division. Really good boxing, good wrestling. He's just good all around in MMA. Cannonier really just over the past year or two, I feel like, has really blown up. He beat Anderson Silva, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he's beaten a couple tough dudes. He's pretty well rounded. I haven't watched a ton of his fights. I kind of just went off a little bit of his record and just the hype right now. I decided to go with Cannonier, and I bet 250 on that one. But I could definitely see that going to Whittaker, too, like you said. It's tough.
I'm going to beat you just on the co-main again.
I know. That'll
last
piss
time I
me
just
off.
smoked you on co-main.
I'll win the main event again, then I'll be pissed off.
Yep. I'm going huge. All right, main event. I think this fight is the biggest one of the year. I think this fight is actually bigger than McGregor and Donald Cerrone at the beginning of the year. Wow. I think this fight is the one that the hardcore MMA fans have been salivating over. It's Justin Gaethje and Khabib Nurmagomedov. We're praying to God that this fight actually happens and doesn't get the Tony Khabib treatment. I really do not want to see Michael Chandler step in for either of these guys. This fight just needs to happen. It's the most dominant grappler we've seen, I think, in the UFC.
Probably almost ever.
Ever. I mean, just disgusting wrestling versus Justin Gaethje, who put on an absolute striking clinic on Tony Ferguson and has this mystique about his wrestling that he's a D1 wrestler. He was an All-American, I believe, and apparently just creates these insane scrambles in the gym. He just doesn't like wrestling, so he likes to stand on the feet and beat the shit out of people. But this fight has so many questions around it, and I'm going with Justin Gaethje for $100 because he is the plus 270 underdog.
Wow. Okay, yeah. So we have different picks on this fight too. This fight, I think, a lot of people don't know about Gaethje's wrestling.
I don't think he's ever shot a takedown.
He's never shot a takedown in the UFC.
No.
I don't know if ever or not.
He
probably has, but in the UFC, yeah, he hasn't shot any takedowns. I think his offensive wrestling probably isn't as good as what his defensive wrestling probably is.
That's what he says.
Although he has got taken down a few times. And I think the first couple rounds, I think Gaethje's going to give Khabib a really tough time because he's going to be fresh. He's going to be really good with his takedown defense, and I think he will be picking apart Khabib quite a bit in the first 2 rounds. I think with all how grappling heavy Khabib is, eventually he's going to get a takedown, and from Gaethje just having to wrestle so much, I do think he's going to tire out. I could see this one being like a 4th round submission or TKO. I think Khabib's going to end up winning this. His grappling, like once he takes you down, you're just usually not getting back up, and you better have good enough defense to kind of hold him off. But he's not somebody that just takes you down and holds you there. He's somebody that he'll give up a little space to just beat the shit out of you with ground and pound, and then when he needs to, he'll transition to your back or. It's just so hard to get up when he gets on top. Man, yeah, it's tough. Granted, Gaethje could knock him out, but in my opinion, that's like his only way to win this fight pretty much. I could see Gaethje knocking him out, but if he doesn't, I can see Khabib winning the decision or submitting Gaethje.
Yeah. Do
I see Gaethje getting a submission? No. Do I see Gaethje winning a decision? It's probably going to be really hard to do with Khabib's style because when he does get taken down and doesn't get back up, he's going to be giving away rounds. So really, it's like he's got to rock him and KO him basically.
So you said that you could see Khabib losing the first 2 rounds. So you think Khabib might actually have to dig deep and like come back in the last 3 rounds? We've never seen that before.
I know.
We've only seen maybe a close round 3 with Conor McGregor.
Well, I think when he fought Al Iaquinta, which it was a last-minute fight, but he had trouble taking him down quite a bit. Every once in a while, you'll see in his fights, he'll struggle a little bit to get people down.
Yeah.
Lately, he hasn't had that problem as much just because he's starting to mix in his striking a little bit more. Yeah. So it's harder to, like, you have to respect when he's throwing those overhands, he'll drop you.
He'll drop you.
And when you do respect it, he gets in on your legs, and there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that one's going to be a crazy fight. I'm so excited for that fight. The other ones, whatever, they're okay. The co-main's pretty good.
I think the co-main's pretty
But
sick.
that main event, that's what makes this whole card.
Oh, yeah, it's the reason it's a pay-per-view.
Yeah, if Chandler does come in. I think depending on who it's against, that could be super interesting too. But I forgot to tell you I picked Khabib for 150. I mean, I kind of said it. I just
Khabib
didn't
for
say the money.
150?
Yeah,
gotcha.
150.
Yeah.
He's such the favorite that I didn't bet a ton of money on him because I'm not going to really win much. But I do think Khabib's going to pull away with this one and win.
That is respectable. Who do you have? Okay, so we mentioned it, I think, at the beginning that there is a chance that Michael Chandler steps in. Mm-hmm. If he steps in and fights Gaethje, who wins?
I believe if Chandler steps in against Gaethje, that Gaethje's probably going to win that one.
Yeah.
I think he hits a little harder than actually Chandler hits really hard too. It would be interesting. I just think Gaethje's got a little bit more power. Stylistically, I think he's just a little bit better. Those leg kicks will give Chandler problems too. What do you think about that?
I don't think Chandler beats either of these guys. I've been saying this for a long time. I think Michael Chandler's really good, but I almost feel like he's like Bellator Ben Askren in the sense that he'll come to the UFC and be in for a rude awakening.
Mm-hmm. That has happened a lot with the Bellator guys.
Guys who come into the UFC from other pro leagues that are like these dominant guys, they just don't show up on the same level. So
it's funny because here's what happens a lot. It's like the guys that come in from Bellator that were fucking the best in Bellator and studs, they lose in the UFC. But then we have some of the guys that are really good in the UFC that go to Bellator, and then they get fucked up.
It's almost like a home field advantage.
It is, dude. I don't understand it.
It's like just you're going into foreign territories, and they can't fight the same. Yeah, I don't think Chandler beats either of these guys. That's why I really just need this fight to happen. Mm-hmm. And how about this? I've heard a theory Gaethje might shoot on Khabib.
No.
We've never seen Khabib have to defend a takedown, have we? What if...
No, Gaethje's not going to do that, dude. Because if Khabib defends the takedown, Gaethje's going to get tired really early, and then it's like, okay, you just gave everything.
I see it as a good first-round strategy, actually, while he still has energy and
it would be interesting. Khabib is actually pretty good off his back, too, believe it or not. Some of his earlier fights, if you watch him, he's got a decent guard.
Yeah.
And he would probably be so hard to hold down, too, with how good his wrestling is.
But on the way up, Gaethje could hurt him.
That's true. That's one of the things I was going to talk about, too, about that fight, is listening to Gaethje's interviews lately.
Yeah.
I feel like he has such almost a defeated mindset.
Yeah.
He just talks about, I just need to make... what was he saying? Like a car crash, basically.
Yeah, he's looking for carnage.
Yeah.
He always says carnage.
He just wants to create chaos, and like that's how he plans on winning.
He didn't sound... But here's the thing, going against that, is I thought he had the same approach speaking when he was going in the Tony Ferguson fight. He had this like, well, I'm just going to show up and do my best, and, it is what it is. And I'm like... I was like, oh, he's going to get fucked up. Like, Tony Ferguson's going to run his shit, and then next thing you know... he puts on the best performance of his career. Mm-hmm. So it could just be his personality. It's just that fucking weird. Like,
that could be.
You know what I mean? But I do see where you're coming from. And Khabib's just the same stone cold.
Mm-hmm. He's just basically like, I know this guy's tough. He's got good wrestling. He's going to be a tough fight. But wait until I drag him into deep water and I'm going to drown him, basically, is what he's getting at.
Yeah. But, and then there's just that last little piece is that Khabib did lose his father. Is that
he's going to fight like a fucking maniac?
Do you think he makes him a fucking beast, or do you think it
I think it makes him a beast. That his type of mindset, I see him just like taking Gaethje down or something, and he'll be talking a lot because there's no way he's not going to be a little emotional in there.
Yeah.
When his dad's been a huge part of his career. It will be interesting to see him without him, which, he's got his main coaches and everything now, but it's still going to be a very emotional thing. I'm sure he'll be thinking about his dad a lot. So I think he's going to come out to smash, I think.
Yeah. I do logically see Khabib winning this fight. I only bet on Gaethje because of the money line. Yeah, I did. I really just, if Gaethje wins, you know what I mean?
It would be crazy if Gaethje wins.
He's a violent, crazy motherfucker who can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is an exciting one.
Yep, I can't wait.
All right. You have anything else you want to throw in there?
No,
I don't either.
Good.
You're gonna get smoked again. That's my last line.
We shall see.